we're in April again with nothing to play for. No Champions League, no La Liga, no Copa del Rey. What is this team playing for, and how do the fans react to this team right now when this is nothing, and it's the second straight year of nothing?
Yeah, no fun either, right? I mean, Real Madrid are in desperate times right now, and not competing for trophies is unfamiliar to this football club, but it's starting to become much more familiar. I think you're seeing the competitive nature of teams around the world spending more, if not similar money to what Real Madrid will spend on players. Your Manchester Cities of this world are spending big money. Your Liverpools, obviously all of the Premier League teams I could mention are spending money, and they're being competitive, direct competitors to Real Madrid. But why do Real Madrid continuously get some of the best players in the world? It's because of the name, the history of the football club. They all are attracted to Real Madrid because of the brand. But the problem I'm seeing is that what player is attracted to the brand? It's players who want to compete individually. They want their own brand to be taken to the next level. They want to compete to be able to win trophies, to celebrate themselves, because every single player that I see on Real Madrid right now is showcasing individual talent. That they can be competitive as an individual. So you can look at Vinicius Jr. individually on his day, 1v1, very good player. Will cause problems to any defender in the world. Kylian Mbappe, obviously goal scoring this season, outstanding, right? What is it, 41 goals in 40 games or something like that? It's ridiculous, the stats that he's got this year. But 24 goals, I'd expect more from Kylian Mbappe in La Liga this season. One-on-one, he's probably the best player in the world right now, as far as I'm concerned. But when you actually mix all that together, is it a good team? That's the big problem I have with Real Madrid. And then sprinkle on top of that the fact that they got rid of Xabi Alonso so early on in the season. Why are you getting rid of Xabi Alonso? Because the players want you to do that? How weak is ownership? How weak is the executive board at Real Madrid to make those types of decisions to get rid of Xabi Alonso? You brought a new manager who's already lost more games than him. Okay, they might like him more, they enjoy training more, but are they a more competitive team? Absolutely not. So as I have mentioned already before, Real Madrid are in a road to nowhere right now. I am very concerned. They need to make massive improvements to be able to have the right person in charge of this team going forward to be much more competitive. They need to bring in the right players to be much more competitive, because this group of players is a team of individuals, is by far and away the most overrated team in Champions League this season that got nowhere. And it was proven by the best of the best.
I want to come back. I want to talk to Mbappe about his success in a minute, though, because he's had success individually, as you mentioned, but collectively that's the problem. But you mentioned management, ownership. Florentino Perez, this is a guy that loves the camera and talks a lot about his team, wants his Galacticos, wants his big name guys, big money guys. But whether you see it at PSG, where they had Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi, they didn't win. Those guys leave. They build a team. Now they have one of the best teams in Europe, a team that won the Champions League last year. You have a situation now at Real Madrid where should they change their approach when they keep getting these guys but not building a team? I know that's against the ethos of the Galacticos, but do you want results or do you want big names?
No, it's exactly to the point of exactly what I said a couple of weeks ago on a clip that was picked out by Real Madrid faithful, and the Madridistas around the world are not too happy with me for saying that. It is not a good team. It is not a competitive team. They're nowhere near good enough to be able to compete with the best in European football. Now, I just mentioned Manchester City, and you can obviously talk about the result they had against Manchester City in the Champions League, but they were found out by Bayern Munich and found out in a big way. I think that individuals can take you so far. They can make you competitive, but they can't win you trophies successfully. You have to be able to have a competitive team that is one, that's a group of players that buy into it.
But is Perez capable of changing his approach? Is he capable? Because you mentioned getting the right manager, but it starts at the top to make this is how we're going to build this team.
They need change from the top, and that's what I'm saying to you. The decision to replace Xabi Alonso was a bad decision, in my opinion. It was a terrible decision, because what is Xabi Alonso? Xabi Alonso is one of the best coaches, as proven in the Bundesliga when he took care of business against Bayern Munich, the Bayern Munich that just knocked out Real Madrid, by the way, undefeated in a Bundesliga run to win the title under Xabi Alonso. Sure, he's trying to prove himself, but he understood the DNA of Real Madrid. He knew what it took to be a Real Madrid player and win at Real Madrid. So give him time to be able to build his own team. I think that what you're recognizing is that Xabi Alonso, obviously under his tenure, had a real problem trying to get across to players who had big egos, the players who didn't want to buy in. You remember the game that they played, I want to say, I'm just guessing here, but I think it was Saudi Arabia they played in that Super Cup game. And Kylian Mbappe, instead of going over when Xabi Alonso had said, come on over and applaud your supporters, and Kylian Mbappe, get out of here, we're out here. Player power. Players have far too much power, far too much influence. What do players do when they're not happy? They run to the boss. And Mr. Perez says, okay, next up. So he brings in another familiar face, and another familiar face fails at that football club. So who's going to be the one that can come in, that can control or get the best out of this group? Or do they need to make swift decisions in this group? I think they need to make swift decisions.
You hear coaches all the time say, when your best player is also your hardest worker, best in the locker room, that gives you the best chance to win.
Yeah.
And there's examples of this across different sports. Mbappe has not won at the club level. I don't care what happened at PSG in Liga. Don't care.
Yes.
We saw what happened in the Champions League with that group of big-name players and big-money players. He goes to Real Madrid. We've got the same issues here. Is he the problem in his attitude? If you can't push him, can they win? If you can't make him play in a different way, Lord knows he's not tracking back, but if you can't help him give it in the locker room at least to bring guys together, can this team be the team they're supposed to be?
I mean, you can't even compare this group of Real Madrid players to even what we've seen through generations. Yeah. And there has been Galacticos who have failed at Real Madrid before. You remember the Beckham era. I mean, they were unsuccessful, especially when it came to the Champions League. But this group of players, you can't compare. They're not on the same level. They're not even in the same stratosphere. And I think they have the best player in the world right now in Kylian Mbappe. He scores goals for fun. Individually, he's brilliant, and he's had to learn to play alongside Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, Jude Bellingham, all of those guys. His statistics don't lie, and I mentioned already before, it's 41 goals in 40 matches this season across all competitions, which is spectacular. His 99th appearance since he's arrived at the football club, his 85th goal. And if you look at the comparison to last season, most non-penalty kick goals since the beginning of last season across Europe top 5 leagues, Kylian Mbappe leads the way, one more than Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. He's a goal scorer. Natural ability goal scorer. But the problem is, to your point, he is an egotistical player. He has a high opinion of himself and many times very selfish. Is he good for the locker room? I don't know. Not in it. But the results don't lie, right? You pointed it out perfectly. At Paris Saint-Germain, what happened after he left? They went on to win the Champions League. They went on to compete in a FIFA Club World Cup final after he left the football club. So you do have to, at some point, question, what is he influencing in that locker room? What is he to Vinicius Jr.? What is he to the rest of the players? Jude Bellingham, Valverde. Obviously, you understand the goal scorer he is and even the assists. The statistics are beautiful when you look at the individual. But when you look at the group, statistics for an individual is not enough to win a trophy. And that's been proven this season once again. Who'd have thought that he'd go to Real Madrid and not win a thing?
Yeah.
Embarrassing. It's a joke.
It is a joke, and we look at let's just talk about next season because this season's done for them. It's done and dusted. I don't care. They've got 3 games left to play in the league. They don't matter. Right. What needs to happen from a? We talked about the management piece, the management in terms of the club.
Yeah.
When you look at the management of the team, you know, will they give? If you don't give Xabi Alonso time, who do they need to be as a manager? What has to happen in terms of the players on the field, and who do they bring in to rebuild this roster in the appropriate way?
Let's start with the players first and foremost, because you're seeing the group that they've got right now under Arbeloa. I don't think they're good enough defensively. The fullbacks that came into the football club, Carreras impressed me initially when he came in through the door from Benfica. Obviously a very talented player that could do well going forward. Alexander-Arnold hasn't produced at all, and he's been found out, I think, by both coaches. He's been left on the bench a lot of the time. Militao has had his injury problems, and I think Dean Huijsen has been disappointing this year. And they've had a big goalkeeping problem when Courtois is not there. When Courtois is there, they're a lot more stable. They can rely on him because he pulls out world-class saves when you least expect it. Jude Bellingham injured a lot of the season. Underperformed when he's been fit. The biggest problem I've seen, if you look at the group full stop, in my personal opinion, I think that Vinicius Jr. is the problem. I think Kylian Mbappe is the problem. Those two players don't seem to gel with one another. They don't seem to get along with one another. We can be fooled by what we see on social media, and okay, they score a goal and it's wonderful to see, oh yeah, well done Jude, well done Trent, well done Killy, and that's Vinicius Jr. talking on Instagram. We see it all, right? But I read between the lines here, and I'm thinking that Vinicius Jr. is not happy at Real Madrid. He doesn't play like a happy person. He doesn't celebrate. Where's the Samba love? Where's the smile on his face? It seems to have been lost. Now, I know he has gone through a lot in Spanish football, and he is an icon of football, full stop, Vinicius Jr. But I want to see the best version of Vinicius Jr. for Real Madrid Football Club. For them to have success, you need to get the best version of Kylian Mbappe. You need to get the best version of Vinicius Jr. You need to get the best version of Jude Bellingham. You need to make sure Valverde is still banging in goals. He sort of stopped that from long distance. You need to get the best version of every single world-class player that they have at the football club. You can't be a world-class individual and win. That's been proven by Real Madrid this season and last season. I feel for those Madridistas out there, because right now, they're on the road to nowhere. Yeah. They need someone in charge of that football club. They need someone who has, in my opinion, a clear character that can deal with egotistical players who think that they're better than the football club. No, no, no. Real Madrid is bigger than every single individual that plays for it. Galacticos or not, you need to put a team together that can be competitive, because the rest of the world is running away from Real Madrid right now. They are starting to lag behind, and if they're not careful, it'll be another trophyless season next year.